people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you got to ask yourself. You got to recommit to this game. Just like you sign a new contract, every time you get better as a player, I truly feel that you got to recommit and sign that contract with yourself.
That single line from Kevin Durant, mixed with LeBron James laughing in the background, was all it took to blow the lid off the basketball world. You simply do not joke about Michael Jordan like that. Ever. And in a twist no one saw coming, NBA legends didn't just fire back at Durant and LeBron, they dragged Bronny James straight into the blast zone as well. What started as casual banter turned personal fast. This wasn't just another podcast clip going viral. It was one of those rare moments that jumps off the screen and punches basketball culture right in the chest. There was no game, no buzzer beater, no trophy involved, yet it shook the entire legacy debate to its core. Moments like this don't happen often, and when they do, legends respond. The storm began during what was supposed to be a calm, thoughtful sit-down between two of the biggest stars of this generation. On July 8, 2025, Kevin Durant joined LeBron James on his podcast, Mind the Game, expecting a respectful hoops conversation, not a cultural explosion. By this point, the podcast had already established itself as a serious platform in basketball media. After J.J. Redick stepped away to become head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron brought in two-time MVP Steve Nash to keep the discussions sharp and cerebral. The show focuses on mindset, preparation, recovery, and how the game continues to evolve at the highest level. Now in its third season, it leaned even more into tactics and mental warfare, the kind of insight casual fans rarely hear. Durant's appearance was split into 2 episodes, both recorded during the offseason before his move to the Houston Rockets. Early on, everything felt smooth. The first episode, released July 1, 2025, covered Durant's scoring evolution, his respect for the Oklahoma City Thunder following their finals win over the Indiana Pacers, and the modern game's obsession with pace and spacing. He gave credit to his new coach, Ime Udoka, and spoke about the return of the mid-range jumper. It was thoughtful, respectful, and exactly what fans expected. But the second episode, which aired on July 8th, went somewhere dangerous. The conversation drifted toward legacy pressure and what it really takes to stay elite year after year. Durant, always introspective, spoke about having to sign a new contract with yourself, a mental promise to keep grinding even after you've already won everything.
10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. But do I still want to do this? You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Well, some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's a contract I feel like you got to have with yourself, too, in order for you to be a, great ball player or to have a long career. That's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal. However you want to get there, but you got to recommit to yourself.
That single line from Kevin Durant, paired with LeBron James laughing in the background, was enough to ignite the basketball world. You simply do not joke about Michael Jordan, ever. In a twist no one anticipated, NBA legends didn't just respond to Durant and LeBron, they dragged Bronny James into the controversy too. What began as casual conversation quickly became personal, and the details were messy. This wasn't just another podcast clip going viral. It was a moment that punched basketball culture in the chest. There was no game, no buzzer beater, no trophy, yet it shook the ongoing debate over legacy to its core. The incident occurred on July 8, 2025, during Durant's appearance on LeBron's podcast, Mind the Game. What was intended to be a thoughtful discussion turned explosive. Durant, speaking on staying motivated long-term, said, "Some people say I want to go play baseball and then want to come back." Any serious fan instantly recognized the reference, Michael Jordan's first retirement in 1993. Without ever naming him, Durant highlighted the contrast between players who step away and those who grind continuously. He immediately followed by praising those who never left the game, a clear nod to LeBron, who has played 22 straight elite seasons. LeBron's uncontrollable laughter at that moment, described as loud and infectious, changed everything. What might have remained a reflective conversation suddenly felt disrespectful to many, turning the podcast into a full-blown cultural flashpoint. The backlash was fueled by context that Durant and LeBron either overlooked or didn't address. Jordan's first retirement was deeply personal. In July 1993, Michael lost his father, James R. Jordan Sr., to a violent carjacking in North Carolina. His father had been his anchor, guide, and biggest supporter. Jordan's announcement on October 6, 1993, that he was stepping away from basketball for exhaustion was true on the surface, but the deeper truth was heartbreak. Basketball had become emotionally unbearable after winning a historic three-peat. Moreover, his father had long dreamed of seeing him play professional baseball, and that dream carried immense emotional weight. When Jordan signed a minor league contract with the Chicago White Sox in February 1994 and played for affiliates like the Birmingham Barons, it wasn't a vacation from pressure or competition. It was a tribute to his father, a way to process grief, and a means to keep moving forward when everything else felt impossible. His .200 batting average in the minors didn't diminish the personal significance of that chapter. That is why Durant's comment, combined with LeBron's laughter, landed so hard. Fans immediately reacted online. Social media exploded with posts highlighting the personal tragedy behind Jordan's baseball pursuit and contrasting it with Durant and LeBron's comments. One viral thread bluntly reminded everyone that Jordan played baseball to honor his father, while others framed the moment as a disrespectful jab at the most sacred aspects of his life. The discussion reignited critiques of Durant's own career decisions, particularly his move to join the Golden State Warriors in 2016, and sent debates across X, YouTube, and Twitter into overdrive. Durant attempted to clarify on July 10th, emphasizing his admiration for Jordan and pointing out that he owns over $1 million worth of MJ sneakers. He stressed that his comments were meant to respect both Jordan's dominance and LeBron's unmatched longevity, framing the discussion as admiration for different paths rather than a slight against anyone. But for many, it was too late. The laughter had echoed and the moment was already cemented online. Legends and analysts soon responded. The first major voice came from Kwame Brown, the #1 pick in the 2001 NBA draft, who had been selected by Jordan while he ran the Washington Wizards. Brown, who spent years being criticized in media for not living up to expectations, was among the first to call out Durant and LeBron, setting the tone for the wave of backlash from former players and hardcore Jordan defenders. If you want, I can also combine this with your previous KD/LeBron podcast section.
When you're supposedly a student of the game, Michael Jeffrey Jordan won 3 championships in a row. He three-peated, jackasses. And his father got killed, murdered that summer. I think July, August or something like that. And then MJ retired in October and dedicated himself to baseball, which is a sport that his father wanted him to play. So that's why he played baseball. And he tried to commit himself and dedicate himself because he was in a mourning phase. You know, smart-ass idiots, because he lost his father that year. After he played baseball, was gone from the game for about a year or two, he came back and three-peated. So when you talk about dedication and greatness, at least know what the talking about while y'all chuckling and laughing and grabbing your ear, trying to trick this younger generation because y'all pieces of
Lately, Brown has reinvented himself through his YouTube platform, Bus Life, emerging as one of the loudest and most fearless commentators in basketball. On this topic, he showed zero restraint. He went straight after Durant and LeBron, accusing them of ignoring the most critical context of Jordan's era. Brown said he couldn't believe that 2 so-called students of the game had missed the biggest detail of all, and that was just the beginning. Brown made it crystal clear that Michael Jordan's baseball chapter had nothing to do with dodging competition or losing hunger. It was about grief, about a son honoring his father's final encouragement while trying to function amid emotional chaos. That context mattered, and Brown wasn't letting anyone skate past it. His rant exploded online. Platforms like Ticket TV clipped the segment and shared it widely, amplifying the message further. Brown wasn't alone. Three-time NBA champion Ron Harper, who won titles alongside Jordan during his second three-peat, chimed in with his own pointed comment. He bluntly noted that stepping away 3 times and still winning more than everyone else should end the argument. The point hit hard. Jordan walked away and still came back with 6 championships, more than Durant's 2 and LeBron's 4 combined. Then, Stacey King, another Bulls champion, weighed in during August 2025. He didn't hold back, mocking Mind the Game by renaming it the Crimea River Podcast and accusing Durant of sneakily dissing Jordan under the guise of talking about longevity. Analysts piled on quickly. Veteran commentator Charles Barkley used his podcast to break down what he saw as hypocrisy. He questioned how Durant and LeBron could preach commitment when, in his view, their careers sometimes involved avoiding adversity rather than facing it head-on. Barkley drew a sharp contrast between Jordan enduring the brutal Detroit Pistons era and how modern stars respond to resistance. Barkley went further, reminding fans that when Jordan arrived in Chicago, no one lined up to join the Bulls. The franchise was mocked and far from glamorous. Jordan didn't run from the challenge. He transformed it into a global powerhouse and one of the most iconic.
Like a bat out of hell. Not only did he run from the grind and the commitment of trying to win for an organization that didn't really win nothing at all, you ran to the team that whooped your ass. That's like Jordan running to the Pistons, man. That's like Michael Jordan running to the Pistons or the Celtics. You ran to the dudes that put their goon down on you. Then you ran to Brooklyn. When things got hard in Brooklyn, what did you do? You ran again. But you're talking about committing to the grind? What are you even talking about?
Michael Jordan was averaging 30 10 times in his career, played all 82 games 9 times. 9 times an all-NBA first-team defensive player, a defensive player of the year, okay, a 6-time champion, a 6-time NBA Finals MVP, a 5-time MVP of the league, and in your 22nd or 23rd year, you still chasing. Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I think it's obvious who the GOAT is. In my estimation, you don't like me because you see me calling it like I see it. You're not Michael Jordan. You're not the GOAT. You did choke in an NBA Finals. 4 consecutive fourth quarters in an NBA Finals. This man was scoring 4 points. One game, he scored 0 points. In an NBA Finals, fourth quarter. With Jason Terry or J.J. Barea guarding you. There is no explanation for that. To anybody who knows basketball. That's a choke job.
Stephen A. also addressed the elephant in
The loudest voice in the GOAT debate has always belonged to Stephen A. Smith. When the discussion reignited, he laid out his case with ruthless efficiency, rattling off accomplishments Michael Jordan achieved that LeBron James still hasn't matched, even after more than 2 decades in the league. But Stephen A. wasn't just talking numbers. He highlighted defining moments, pointing to critical turning points that still follow LeBron, like the 2011 NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks. These, he argued, are moments that shape legacies and linger long after the final buzzer. Smith also tackled the ever-present issue of super teams, a common talking point among Jordan loyalists. He emphasized that he never saw Jordan joining forces with established stars the way LeBron teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, or later paired with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love in Cleveland and Anthony Davis in Los Angeles. According to Smith, Jordan built his empire through drafts, smart trades, and personal dominance, not by coordinating player movement behind the scenes. The debate spilled off screens as well. In March 2025, during a Lakers versus Knicks game, Smith